What is up, my fellow gamers? In today's video, we got our best beginner's guide for the global launch of the King of Fighters AFK. Like and sub for more amazing gaming content. I've been playing this game for quite a while now in early access, the gameplay that you're seeing right now, but this video will be released on global launch day, is understanding your characters, their move skills, and also pretty much just how combat works. There's 3 different attributes in this game. So if we take a look right under where it shows these characters at the top, level 40, you're going to see these little symbols. And then it's right above where it says information. So you see the little star icon, that is going to be one of the attributes. So there's a star icon, there's a sun icon, and then if we scroll down a little bit further, see this gold Athena has the little moon. That is the moon icon. So those are the 3 different attributes, and it's pretty much kind of the same typical rock, paper, scissors. One is a little bit stronger than the other. Now, if we go ahead and we take a look at the different colors, the colors go by rarities. These red ones right here are considered legendaries. Then you have the yellow ones, which are kind of underneath that. They're kind of like, I want to say like uniques or however you want to call it. And then from the yellows, you then have the purples, and then from the purples go the blues, and then the blues then go to the browns. I honestly never use the purples, the blues, or the browns. The only ones that I've ever seemed to really need to use is the gold yellow ones and then the red ones. Obviously the red ones are the strongest. They're like the best heroes in the game. There are some decent yellow ones though, so you know, don't sleep on some of them. You're going to be using a bunch of the yellow ones at the beginning when you first start, but then once you start getting access to some of these red ones from the summoning system, you like pull them. I highly recommend you go ahead and start switching over and using some of these reds because they are super duper broken. Let's go ahead and take a look at the main menu for one of these characters. We can see a bunch of their stats right here in this top right corner, and then we can see their overall power as well. If we click that, we can see all the different stats and what they do. One important stat that I want you to look out for is going to be the DEX, which is dexterity. If we click on this, dexterity reduces the time until your next turn. So basically what dex does is it determines turn order for your characters. So the higher the dex stat for a character, the sooner they will go ahead and take their turn in the attack order. So having characters with high dex is very important. You always want to try and, you know, attack before the enemies go ahead and take their turn. But you can take a look right here. This is she is one of the really strong characters in this game that I have her at 1 star. I highly recommend if you do have her, try and pull for her from the red banners. From there, the next thing we need to do is let's look at their skills. The 3 different type of skills we are going to have is going to be strike, blast, and finally grapple. Now with right here, you can see that she has a strike normal skill. So right here at this top part right here, this normal skill, and then right next to normal skill, it says strike. That is saying that it is a strike ability. We take a look next to her active skill right here. I'll scroll up a little bit. It says blast skill. So you're probably wondering, well, what does this even mean? The strike skills are the most basic attacks towards enemies. There's nothing really special about them. It's just called strike. The next one though is going to be blast. Now blast is a little bit different because blast are special skills that allows you to attack without the enemy being able to counter. The blast skills are really beneficial in that matter. Especially in like PvP. And then finally, the last one is going to be grapple. So let me go ahead and let me find someone right now who has a grapple. If we take a look at this character right next to his finisher skill, it says grapple. Now grapple is another special skill. Now this attacks opponents regardless of the accuracy, but these type of skills do not work on some of the larger bosses. So the larger bosses would typically be like the super duper bosses that I believe you face in like the challenges. So I think the world boss challenge, the high score challenge, like some of these bosses that are just like ridiculously large, that whole accuracy thing doesn't work in that instance. So if we take a look back at the skills Let's head back on over. Grapple. So the way the game works is your characters have accuracy and they also have evade. The higher the accuracy, the better chance that their attack will hit. The enemy's higher evade means that they will evade the attack. However, if they have that grapple, if it's a grapple attack, like I said, that is like basically a guaranteed attack. So it doesn't go ahead and, you know, put your accuracy against their evade or whatever. It just is like a guaranteed, it's going to hit. There's no way for them to avoid it. Now, aside from those, we then have 3 different types of skills. So we have normal skill, active skill, and finisher skill. A normal skill is going to pretty much always be available. There is no cooldown. It's something that your character can always do anytime it is their turn. The next one is going to be the active skill. Now, the active skill typically for every character has a cooldown. The active skill is typically stronger than their normal skill. Like I said, though, it does have a cooldown. So if they go ahead and they activate their active skill, for this instance, it says 3 turns for the cooldown. So let's say this character does Dark Barrier. Then for the next 3 turns, they will not be able to use their active skill. So then it will default back to using their normal skill. It's important to know this stuff because this is all automated. So we don't really have control over this because it is an AFK game. You're not picking and choosing which skills to activate. So it's important to understand how this whole battle system works. Then finally, we have our finisher skill. The finisher skill goes ahead and will automatically activate as soon as a hero character has their blue bar at the bottom completely filled up, which is like their power gauge. So if we head back to this little AFK battle area, see under these characters, there's like that blue bar. That blue bar is their finisher bar. So once it goes ahead and it reaches completely full, that character will immediately do it regardless of the turn order. So it almost is like kind of like a little cheat system. So it doesn't matter. As soon as it's full, boom, it takes priority that character will do their ultimate finisher right away. Even if they're like further back in the turn order or maybe they shouldn't be going. If it's full, bam, they do it. So it's very, very important to understand that. You know, if we take a look at the last one, the last one's going to be passive skills. Now, every character is also going to have a passive skill, and the passive skill is basically what it is. It's a passive bonus. Characters have different passives. Now, this one right here for we says regains 75% PG upon using a finisher skill. So PG is pretty much your power gauge, and the power gauge is your finisher, the blue bar thing that I was showing, right? So the finisher skill is used once the power gauge or that blue bar is completely fully charged all the way up. So some characters, like you can see her passive, she's going to gain 75% of her power gauge when she uses a finisher skill. So you can see why she's super broken. She does her ultimate, her finisher skill, and then she immediately recharges 75% of it. So she's like ready to do it again, right? And you can see that this effect will not activate for finisher skills that already receive this effect. So you can't, like, it doesn't continue stacking. But regardless, it basically means she can use 2 of her ultimate abilities like right away, like really, really like soon. So that is kind of how that works with the different types of skills. The other thing that is very, very important to note is that some of these characters, like this, for instance, is a legendary Athena. For her passive skill, it increases her dex, which is her speed, her turn order, by 20% when placed in the back row. This is so important because there is a lot of characters in this game that have passive skills that gain bonuses based on whether they're put in the front row or the back row. Now, I say this is important because if you go over to your formation and you're a brand new player and you just hit auto deploy, it's basically just going to deploy your characters who have the highest combat power, but it does not put them in the correct order. So that is one thing that you have to really pay attention about, because if you're not putting them in the front row or the back row manually, you could be missing out on a lot of bonuses. You could be missing out on the 20% extra dexterity. You could be missing out on extra HP or any kind of little bonus. So make sure that you are putting them in the front row or the back row, because auto deploy will not prioritize that at all, and you can miss out a lot. The other thing to understand is if your characters do have their normal skill and active skill both available, the game prioritizes their active skill. So it's always going to do the best skill that is available. So it'll do their active skill first, and then if it's on cooldown, then it defaults to the normal skill. The way to understand which enemy your character is going to prioritize targeting is going to be right beneath where their skills are. So for this instance, right below his skills, where it says level 1, it says nearest enemy first. See where it says that nearest enemy first? It basically means it's going to attack whoever is closest to him. If we take a look at somebody else, this one says the farthest enemy first. And then if we take a look at this one, it says nearest enemy. And then there is one, let me see right here, this one. Melee says enemy with the lowest HP percentage first. So this is kind of like an assassin style character that wants to destroy enemies that are already really weak. Enemy inflicted with a DOT, which is damage over time. So if the enemy has a damage over time effect on them, then they will go ahead and that character will target them first. So there is a lot of team building that definitely goes into play. I will say, as a new player, you don't really have to do too much team building. You can, if you want, like experiment and stuff like that with different combination of characters. But for the most part, you know, you can kind of get away with just throwing in like some of the top tier characters and just like, you know, having them do damage, right? Like, I'm free to play, haven't spent any money in this game. These are the characters that I've been able to get just from playing for what, about a week now. And you know what I mean? Like, it's very easy to get a lot of these characters and just unlock stuff. It just takes time, right? Because it is an AFK game. That is it. I hope you guys and girls enjoyed the video. Stay happy, stay safe. I'll see y'all later. Peace.